This is a short introduction from the author of Destined to Lead about the background to the book, importance of Shahnameh to the Iranian culture, and what more you can do if you get interested into the topic of Zorvanism and want to learn more. So, Hushang Dowlatabadi is my father and the author of the book, and I'll be putting some questions to him that will provide some answers. So my first question is, what makes Shahnameh so important to you?
Shahnameh Ferdowsi is the only reliable source of information about the ancient Persian history. Iranians were relatively late at writing down their history, and they preferred the oral history, citing and reciting the old saga of Iran were a kind of recreation, as well as it is now, still now, in some traditional tea houses. About 1,000 years ago, the stories about Iranian kings were collected and made into a book called Khodainameh. This book, which is the prose of this book, is transferred into poem by Ferdowsi. Ferdowsi is extremely anxious to be very correct about transferring the details of that Khodainameh into his Shahnameh. He has even referred and related some stories which were quite far from his sphere of knowledge. Many details of relations between Iran and India which were quite unknown to him and quite unknown to everybody in his time is transferred into poetry meticulously. And he has even named many locations in Iran which were far from his native Tus, and these places are still with the same name and characteristics at the present time.
Second question is, why is almost a quarter of a book covering all of Iran's prehistory devoted to one king, Khosrow?
Shahnameh has about 58,000 couplets. A quarter of it is dedicated to Khosrow. Khosrow reigned only 60 years, and Shahnameh is covering about 4,000 years of Iranian history. The difference can be explained by the fact that Khosrow was, in my opinion, the only king about our kings, some 400 odd kings of Iran, who was really concerned about the well-being of people. The people just wanted to more hear about it and talk about it, and so the actual parts of Shahnameh which were gathered in Khodainameh were mostly dedicated to Khosrow because the people just liked to hear about him.
My third question is, if Zorvan was the prevailing religion at the time of Khosrow, why do so few people know about it?
Zorvanism is the religion of poor people. It makes possible for the people under harsh conditions to bear the hardship of life. It is not so that Zoroastrianism was forgotten after Zoroastrianism was the official religion of Iran in later dynasties. Zoroastrianism remained, and it was still very strong among the poor people of Iran many thousand years after Khosrow. I have written a book about the history of Zoroastrianism in Iran and have proved that it is still a living force in Iranian society. Zoroastrianism was taken up by Islam. Islam is also a religion which helps people to bear the hardships of life, with some exceptions which attracted people and was more up to date, so to say, because it promised an afterlife. But the point is, Islam is actually insistent about the responsibility of people, and is always telling the people that there will be a hardship in this world, and if somebody is bearing it and is pious, he will have a very comfortable life after he dies. It is quite in contrast with the harshness of Zoroastrianism, which did not believe in any kind of afterlife. After the death of people, everything was over.
Mm-hmm. So what do you see as the lasting impression of Zoroastrianism in Iranian culture today?
It is very important to note that Zoroastrianism made its impact on Iranian society after Islam was accepted by the people. In Iran today, although we have to believe that everybody is responsible for every action in his life, Insha'Allah and MashaAllah, two words which roughly means God willing, is by far the most used words in Iranian conversations. Actually, we are fatalists, and that's the remaining influence of Zoroastrianism in Iran and in Iranian culture.
Did you write this book to introduce Iranian prehistory to a new generation of readers, or the roots of Iranian social psychology?
You ask me if I have written this book to introduce Iranian ancient history to new generations, or to write about some aspects of Iranian society. Actually, I cannot see any difference in these two aspects of your question. I hope that the book will serve both purposes.
Great. Are there other books you would suggest to the audience if they are to read some more about Zoroastrianism?
Oh yes, there is a very good comprehensive book about Zoroastrianism which is written by Professor Zehner. The late Professor Zehner compiled the whole writings and inscriptions and saga about Zoroastrianism in his book, which is called Zoroastrianism. Unfortunately, he was of opinion that Zoroastrianism was a dilemma inside Zoroastrianism, which is actually not the case. Unfortunately, many of the Orientalists and archaeologists who bothered to work for uncovering Iranian beliefs were not informed about the Iranian society and the aspects of Iranian thinking. Just to be short about this question, I have to say that nobody in his mind would change Zoroastrianism for Zoroastrianism, because Zoroastrianism is a religion for easygoing people. You can even buy the afterlife if you have money enough to do good things in this life. Compared with the harshness of Zoroastrianism, it is not possible that any Zoroastrian would actually change his belief and become Zoroastrianist. The Book of Zayner is extremely important for any study of Zoroastrianism. And I myself have actually learned a lot about Zoroastrianism from his book, and have referred to his book. That was a reference book which was very useful.
Well, thank you very much for your attention. From Hushang Dowlatabadi and Hadi Dowlatabadi, respectively the author and translator of Destined to Lead. And I hope you enjoy the book. Thanks. Bye.